Hello, welcome to the latest episode of the Bunkered Podcast in association with Callaway Golf. I'm Michael McEwen. Thank you very much for tuning in. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening in the shower or the car or whatever it is you listen to these days, thank you very much. I appreciate your time ahead of what is another pretty big episode, to be fair. It's the third men's major championship of the season. It goes bloody fast. But yeah, we've got the US Open taking place this week at Oakmont. Genuinely one of my favourite courses that they use for the US Open. So yeah, a pretty big week in prospect. Tons of talking points, tons to discuss. And I can't do it on my own. So I shall bring them in, shall I? Performance editor of Bunkered, Lewis Fraser, and our gear editor, James Tate. Gentlemen,
Hello.
How are we doing? You well?
Hello. Yes, doing good. How are you?
Very well.
Not bad. Tell you
Excellent.
what, wasn't great on Friday night, Lewis.
No.
Wasn't great on
Me
Friday
neither.
night.
I wasn't too pleased about that.
On that point, Steve Clark, feel free to stop listening now.
Leave
You might be
because-
listening in Liechtenstein just now.
I suggest that you maybe just, fast forwards a couple of minutes.
Yeah, you won't like the next couple minutes.
Football wasn't great on Friday night, Lewis, was it? You were at Hampden Park. I was watching at home on TV as Scotland got thoroughly pumped
Yeah,
by
by Iceland.
Iceland.
A volcano beat us.
a volcano.
Yeah.
It's the heaviest defeat we've had from Iceland since the volcanic ash incident
Yeah.
many years ago when they grounded our planes.
Yes.
It wasn't good, was it?
Nah,
That was
terrible.
grim.
That was really grim on so many levels. I think the fact that we played from the start, it was pretty much the strongest 11 we could field, like barring injuries,
Mhm.
and we still looked absolutely nowhere near it.
Yeah,
Really
diabolical.
worrying times to be a Scotland fan, which is weird because this time last year it was the opposite. There was so
Exactly
much
that.
optimism, and it's just completely flipped.
This
It's
time
gone-
last
it's gone
year, I
stale.
was packing a bag, getting ready to go to Germany,
Yeah,
all excited, and honestly thinking we could beat Germany
yeah,
in the opening game
Yeah.
of the Euros on their own patch. And that wasn't like false, bravado or whatever. Genuinely thought we could do it.
we
now,
beat Spain. Beat Spain 2-0
That's right,
in the
yeah.
qualifiers.
Well, now
Thrashed them.
we've got Liechtenstein tonight, just less than 12 hours as we record from now, and I am worried.
Yes, I'm
I am
worried as well.
legitimately concerned. So thanks for that, Steve.
Cheers, Steve.
Some job.
Ah,
Some
dear.
job, my man. Anyway, one man who knows how to. In fact, maybe we should have you as the next Scotland coach, James Tate, because
God.
clearly you've made winning a habit. You've got
I
another bit
know.
of silverware sitting in front of you. Let me just have a look
Yeah.
at this. What does it
Careful.
say?
Is the lid attached to
The
this
lid's
one?
attached. This
Yeah,
good
my
there.
nephew was a wee bit gutted that you couldn't open it and put sweets in it.
The British European Long Drive Games Open 2025 Pro Champion, and that is you, James.
That is-
2
that-
starts,
I know,
2
well done.
wins.
2
Congratulations.
for 2. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, it was it was a good weekend
for you, mate.
for me. Yeah,
Look at you.
I know, it's a
Brilliant.
What's
You're
that
going
like?
to
It
rub
was
it
a
in.
good. It was a good weekend. No, it was the perfect condition. So for anyone who doesn't know what long drive is, we have literally a 60-yard wide fairway.
Mm-hmm.
They usually kind of cut it off at 450 yards. The conditions couldn't be more perfect. It was a little bit firm before the rain came, and it was about 25 miles an hour downwind,
There
which
you go.
is absolutely ideal.
Optimal.
Optimal, exactly. So much so that not only did I break a European record once, I broke it twice.
Oh, go on then.
So you
Give us
broke
some
your own
numbers.
record.
I broke my own record. I
That's
broke
always
my
good.
own record.
Yeah.
So the
same day.
record at the start of the weekend was
447.
and that wasn't set by you?
That was not set by me. That was Bri Roberts.
Oh, I know, Bri. Yeah,
Yeah,
big
he's
lad.
good lads. Very, very good lawn driver as well. But unfortunately, I
You stole his record.
I dethroned that record.
So-
I went to a very recognizable number of 452.
Which was the number you set at the Worlds a couple of years ago?
Yeah, in 2023. Yeah,
Best of the week. It
best
was
of
that-
the week.
that
Yeah,
year I seem to recall. Very
Yeah.
good. 452.
and then decided to up it in the quarterfinals to 462.
That's just
Yeah,
disgusting.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
when
nice that.
Not
isn't it?
normal.
yeah, you
No,
know when you
I was almost on the green.
when Usain Bolt was like
Over
at
the
his
back
prime,
row.
right?
Yeah.
So like he sort of was breaking record. Or this is the rumor anyway. That he was breaking his record by sort of like a couple tenths of a second.
Yeah.
So he could just keep breaking it. Is that what you're doing at the moment? You've got a bit more in the tank.
I've got-
I don't want to go too far.
Yeah, I didn't want to take the piss, so
Yeah.
I just reined it in now. I think just on that, like with the way training and everything has been going, like my ball speed's obviously gone to like 231, and it's
Very
I'm-
proud of that extra one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's significant.
it
as
makes
well,
a
though.
difference. Yeah, but I'm just trying to keep that going and going. So 2 for 2, we're as Lewis likes to say, trending
Oh, stop it.
in the right direction.
Said it
So,
once.
That word.
but managed to get it over the line, second win of the year, and hopefully not going to be the last one.
Well, if you keep doing what you're doing, I'm sure it won't be.
Trust the
That's
process. As
unbelievable.
They say.
This is going to sound, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but 38 yards away. I mean, 38 is an awful lot of extra yards to find, but is 500 is 500 a legitimate possibility for you at some point?
If it was,
Is it the goal, for example?
I reckon, hand on heart, if I was given a chance to go straight after my quarterfinal when I went 4.62, I reckon if there were maybe about 5 mile an hour more and it was maybe slightly drier, it would have been close. I honestly think someone like it might not have even been me, but it could have been if Colton Castle, who's world number one over in the world lawn drive, he can hit 230 ball speed and he hits the ball to the moon. He would have taken advantage of that wind all day. I reckon he could have seen some big numbers. So, but it's all about ball flight as well and all that kind of fun stuff too. So got to play around with it. But yeah, it could have been close.
Ridiculous. I'm actually still reeling from the fact that you've just compared him to Usain Bolt, Lewis. Thank you for that. We're never going to hear the end of that in the office.
Sorry, I was trying to think of the analogy and that came to my head.
He's doing it. Yeah, he's actually doing the pose. Honest to God, what have you done?
His fault.
Sorry.
It is.
Yeah, it's my fault.
Listen, James, honestly, so chuffed for you.
No, thanks very much.
You put in so much work. And this is the thing that people won't get to see is James works for us full time, Monday to Friday, sometimes at the weekends as well, frankly, because golf never stops. He puts in a hell of a shift and then goes straight to the gym or goes straight to the driving range when we're all just going home to chill out with family, friends, etc. He's actually putting in more graft, basically 2 jobs that you're doing. And then on top of that, you've got all the speed sessions that you do in our warehouse during your lunch times. Your commitment to this, honestly, is absolutely unbelievable.
No,
and you deserve these little things here.
Yeah, the descending.
They are getting smaller.
They're getting smaller.
What's that about?
Massive.
I have no idea.
You're gonna win the Worlds and they'll turn around and say we've got a new trophy and it'll be like the Ashes.
It'll be like the smallest little belt you've ever seen.
Yeah.
So my nephew will be able to wear it.
Yeah.
Good. You're very good.
Funny.
Very good.
Anyway, James, well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Lewis,
I
I guess
appreciate
me
it.
and you'll just, cuddle later on and pinch each other's shoulders about the state of the Scottish football
Watch
team.
a 1-0 win over Liechtenstein and think that we're back.
Listen, I'll take it. At this point in time, all day long. There was some Scottish success to enjoy at the weekend.
Yes, there was.
Of Connor Syme, a lad that we know well. Connor, we've known since his amateur days, so excuse the Scottishness. I'll put the short red tin away in a second, but Connor won the KLM Open at the weekend. It's his first win on the DP World Tour. It's been coming, frankly.
Well deserved.
He's a hell of a good player. Part of the Modest Golf stable alongside his fellow countrymen, Ewan Ferguson and various other big names. Torbjorn Oleson's in there, I think, as well. Tyrrell Hatton and so on. Modest building a really good stable. They do a great job with their players, and Connor just the latest to get across the line. So yeah, delighted for Connor. I'm sure the party at Drummoyg, where his dad's in charge, I'm sure that party went on into the small hours this morning. So a few sore heads on the range, I would suspect. James, you should go along actually this afternoon and hit some balls to waken them up.
Aye,
that would do it.
That would definitely scare a few people. That
scare away a few hangovers, that's for sure. Anyway, congratulations, Connor. Delighted for you. As I say, first of many.
Well done. Well deserved.
Brilliant.
US Open, shall we? Let's get into it. And we have to start, of course, with the big question.
The Bunkered Podcast, brought to you by the new Elite Driver from Callaway.
Yeah, thank you, Callaway. Big week in store for Callaway, as it is for every equipment manufacturer. Major wins are what they want as much as the players. So, big question that we are asking this week is, what is the best thing about the US Open? Because let's be honest, gents, I think it's of all the majors, it's the one that probably gets the harshest criticism. Yes, the PGA gets kicked in the run-up to it for its identity crisis and lack of identity. But the US Open gets kicked from now pretty much right through until the end of the championship because of all the things that are wrong with it. But there's good stuff about it as well, right, Lewis?
Yeah, I think the best part of it is the pain and the misery and the suffering that players go through.
The heartbreak.
Yeah, well, possibly.
Easy, Steve Clark.
Not a bit. Yeah,
there's the most Scottish response I've ever heard. What do you like best about it? How shit and tough it is.
Yeah, I do. You watch the best.
It's a good answer. I like it.
No, come on. That's what it's all about.
It
You
is.
wouldn't want it every week, but these players, how often do we see, there they are, they're 27 under par again, brilliant, playing easy golf courses. We're not going to see that at the US Open. Players are going there to have a hard time. They know they're going to have a hard time. The rough's thick. The greens are way too fast for what they should be. Frankly, it could get a bit ridiculous, but that's what makes it one of the best weeks of the year. So to answer your question, the best thing about the US Open, it's the misery.
The misery.
The misery. The misery.
James, what about you?
I'm with Lewis on this one, to be honest. I think it's great to see these guys really get tested. And I think the guys who have the mental toughness just to battle it out on the week really do kind of like shine through.
Mm-hmm.
I think, the fairways are tight, the rough is long, the greens are fast. You can hit what some of the pros will say, I couldn't hit that any better. And they've rolled off the green and they're all of a sudden like looking at a 40-yard chip back up to the green. I like that because it really does just make them kind of like, right, we're going to hit some great shots and we're going to get absolutely royally done here as well at the same time. But I think it's good as well in some instances. The only thing I don't like is the 290-yard par 3, but we talked about that last time.
Yes, we did. Let's not fall out again, shall we?
No.
You okay, Lewis?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
I still don't agree, but I'm fine.
Thing is,
Can move
most
on.
people agree with James and I on this
I
one.
did see that. Yeah, I noticed the sort of the
consensus.
consensus across the whole population is 2/3 in favour of it as well, which is in this podcast.
Yeah.
2/3 in favour of capping par 3s at 200 yards.
Which is just a ludicrous concept.
We won't go back there.
No, let's not. Let's move
Don't,
on.
James,
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
rise
yeah.
it. Don't
No.
rise it. No, I would say,
Try
I
not
would
to.
agree. I think as far as the US Open goes, it is, I think the fact that it is so bloody tough, that is one of that's its unique selling point. I think that's the thing that makes it so interesting. It's nice to see the best players in the world struggle. from time to time. Because it also shows you just how good they are.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can go deep in a tournament, maybe the PGA, and win it, 20 under par or whatever. And yeah, that's objectively very impressive. That's a sign of a good player.
Mhm.
But if you can deal with rough that thick, if you can deal with greens that fast, and still somehow be around about level par, I think that's pretty damn impressive. I would compare the majors maybe to movies. Like the Open is probably your big, sweeping, epic. It's 3 hours long and it's probably starring somebody like Benedict Cumberbatch or Daniel Day-Lewis, and everyone watches and goes, oh, that's going to win Oscars. And then the Masters is probably a bit like a Marvel film where everyone just cannot wait to go along and watch it, and it's just popcorn from start to finish.
Yeah.
The PGA is a chick flick, let's be honest.
I wondered what you were
It's
going
Mean
to say about
Girls,
that. Yeah.
isn't it? But the US
Great
Open
film.
is full. It is. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Unbelievable film.
I like The Devil Wears Prada. I'm like Rory in that sense. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Great movie. Won't hear a bad word against it. But the US Open is full on horror. And I'm not just talking like your Screams or your Final Destinations. I'm talking like your Human Centipedes. Those kind of movies. It is one of those ones that you watch. You kind of watch it through your fingers. Sometimes you just have to look away because it's just that gruesome. And then when it's all said and done, you go, I think I kind of enjoyed it, but now I need a shower.
Yes.
That's the US Open.
Wash your eyes out.
Yeah, pretty much. We've got some responses from our followers, our listeners. Jumped onto the question on social media. Finlay Morrison, from a player's point of view, it's definitely the purse. Yes, I would agree. That's a good thing. A lot of money to be made this week. A record sum, no doubt, once again. He says the Open qualification process and the fact that it's usually played at an iconic venue at a good time of year also makes it a great event. Yep, completely agree. Pete Wells, the best thing about the US Open is that it's not the PGA Championship. That is to say, it's only the year's second most boring major, not the first most boring. Oh, Pete.
There's no need for that. Talk about me being negative. That's really negative.
That's harsh. All right, Steve Clark.
MB Rabs, the tradition of the media ball drop in the rough. I mean, yes, we had that a month or so ago.
Oh, yeah, that's been going for a while. Players as well. Not just me.
Yeah,
it's more
that's right,
players now. Yeah,
it wouldn't be the US Open without it. And Jamie Scott says the best thing about the US Open is that Steve Clark won't be involved.
Steve Clark's getting way too much airtime.
Far too much.
Yeah,
Far too much.
Cap that there.
Listen, we do need to move on with this because I've got a flight to catch because I've been called up to be our goalkeeper tonight. So There is a lot though to like about the US Open. I kind of get the feeling it does get a bit of a negative rap, Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I genuinely think it's a better championship than most people make out.
Yeah.
You look back 12 months ago, but you tell me that Bryson and Rory going down the stretch on a course that tough, having to produce their absolute best stuff. What, to quote Maximus Decimus Meridius, are you not entertained?
Yeah. Great quote.
As long as, I think the USGA are always towing quite a fine line here, and they know that as well. We've seen instances where they've quote unquote lost the golf course, and players get.
It's not
really
US Open meet till somebody says that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think Zach Johnson kind of famously said that he was. But the best players in the world can deal with it, and I think for Oakmont, as you mentioned, it's a brilliant venue. It's going to be fair, but harsh but fair, I think is kind of what we're looking at here.
Will it be fair?
So, yeah, I think so.
We're talking about green speeds that are, 14, 15. I mean, layman's terms, that is lightning quick.
That is lightning quick.
Don't be above the hole.
Yeah, if you're on the right side of the hole, though, then you're doing okay. So it tests every part of your game. You watch just recent, because I'm saying the Canadian Open because it's recent here, but players hit it on the wrong side of the hole. It's not a disaster. It's not the best thing in the world, but you're not thinking about, if you're hitting wedge shots into a green there and you hit it 20 feet above the hole, it's not a disaster. You do that at Oakmont, you could be in real trouble there. So that's what's testing the best players in the world. It's not just that they've, potentially losing golf balls in this really thick rough. It's the fact you need to think your way around every single shot. That's what's identifying the best players here. And that James touched on it. You need to be mentally strong all week. You can't let the golf course get to you. But yeah, I think it will be fair. I think USGA know that they don't want things to get out of hand, because then it makes the tournament silly. They don't want it to be that. Oakmont is a hard enough golf course as it is without them having to trick it up. So yeah, I think this is going to be a really, really good week. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, same. James, you've played an awful lot of golf in the States over the years. I mean, what is it you know about Oakmont? What can you tell us about it? What can you tell us about what Americans think about Oakmont?
Well, if you're going on previous or the most recent US Open that was at Oakmont in 2016, it's very tight. It's very challenging, long. Like if you miss the fairway, you're in trouble. Like you're hacking it out. I think what we're going to see this week is a lot of guys being incredibly cautious just to keep the ball in play. Because if you look at, the past scoring, when DJ won, for example, he only won at like -4, and the next person to him was -1, which was Jim Furyk. So,
so it was.
Yeah.
Jeez, I forgot all about that.
So it's going to be it's going to be really, really close. It's going to be low scoring. And like what we're saying with the greens and them stimping at 15, I think that is going to be such a hard test, because no matter the hole position, even if you're below the hole, like imagine if you're like, right, okay, I finally got an uphill putt. You put that past 2 feet, you're not fancying that one on the way back. And there's going to be a lot of guys who will probably 3-putt because you're just going to be like, yipping it. But I mean, from my experience playing golf in the States, it is traditionally just very much, flag hunting, where it's just up and down. You're not going to see that on this course. Completely different style. There'll be a lot of guys trying to, play bump and runs around the green, run it up. It's really going to test a lot of players' short game. And I think the guys who kind of tap into that and get that nailed through their kind of practice rounds are going to actually manage to kind of keep themselves in it throughout the whole tournament, I think.
And the thing about Oakmont as well, I mean, it's the most used venue. I think this is the 10th time, the record 10th time that it's been used for the US Open. So the USGA knows by now what they're doing setting it up. The Oakmont course superintendents and staff, they know what they're doing in terms of getting their golf course prepped. But the players, this isn't an unfamiliar venue to the vast majority of players in the same way as maybe Erin Hills was or Chambers Bay was. This is a course that is familiar, it's famous, it's well established. And I don't know, it feels like as much as the obsession is around par. By the way, only one of the last 11 US Opens have been won by a player over par. So, I mean, that's changing in itself. But I don't know, I kind of feel like maybe a 500-600 winning score this week's not out the question, Lewis.
Yeah, that seems about right. I think yeah, James touched on it. DJ was 4 under when he won. And
Yeah.
the good thing about Oakmont is that it's a fair test. So if you hit good shots, you can pick up shots. It's not a case of you're just going to be scrambling for pars all the time. Like the short holes out there, you look at second, that's a hole where if you're someone like Bryson and you hit a good drive there, you've just got a wedge in. So if he can hit a fairway, you can just get it close enough where he's in the rough.
Yeah.
You're going to pick up shots. Same in 17, like that's drivable. So if you do produce good shots, you can make birdies. I would be shocked if the winning score was over par. Guys are just too good. They hit the ball too far these days for that to be the case. There'll be a lot of players who do shoot over par, but yeah, I think if you're level, you'll be close, probably similar to what we've seen at the past in Oakmont. 5 or 6 under is probably about right for a winning score. You know, maybe 1 or 2 under each day. It's going to be tough though. Like if you do that, then you'll have earned it, because we've seen footage coming out from Oakmont, and that's going to be just brutal if you're not on your game. If you're going there without your game, you're just not going to find it there. Are you?
Which brings us to Rory McIlroy.
Yes.
A guy who is most certainly not on his game. What a difference a couple of months, even a couple of weeks makes in this game. But yeah, Rory, on the mother of all come-downs after completing the career Grand Slam, he missed the cut at the Canadian Open at the weekend, which is really, that's like the short version of the story. The truth is, he was almost last. He shot rounds of 71 and 78 to finish on 9 over par for just 2 days' work. The cut fell at -3. Rory was 12 shots outside the cut mark.
A bit brutal, isn't it?
It's terrifying. Look at some of the names that finished ahead of him. Cougar Collins. Never heard of him.
What a name.
Great name.
Brilliant.
What a name.
Great name. Josh Goldenberg.
What a great name is that?
Oh, let me see. What's that one? Kato Onishi. Brett Webster. Frankie Capin III. Matthew Javier. It feels like I'm just making up names now.
I think you are. At this
Justin Matthews. Pretty sure I went to school
Eric
with him.
Cole.
Mason Anderson. Mac Meisner. I mean, Baron Botha.
Now you're making them up.
Yeah.
I promise I'm not. I promise.
You're definitely making them up now.
That is, by Rory's own high standards, I think it's his first missed cut since August last year, so maybe cut some slack. It really is. It's brutal and worrying, James, as he goes in search of another major championship.
Yeah, it's baffling. I think, there's obviously been a lot of talk about his driver and everything like that, and he's gone into a new driver. But even still, like going into a new driver, it shouldn't cause you that much trouble, especially someone of his ability.
Where driving's typically and historically been one of his strengths.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Maybe it is just him trying to get used to a new look at a dress. Like as we know, when you get a new driver, or you got to like what you look at. Maybe it's just not quite suiting his eye yet, or he's just trying to like bed it in. But it's obviously not going to look the same, feel the same. So that's going to be like he's not maybe going to have as much confidence off the tee with it yet. But still, like for someone who's just made it into that kind of Hall of Fame, shall we say, of Grand Slam winners,
he should.
That's the last thing I'd expect him to do. Like, it is absolutely baffling. So, yeah, I'm not sure what we're going to expect from him this week, but it's going to be very interesting.
To James's point, a poor driving week again. In Canada, 13 out of 28 fairways, I think it was. I mean, if he does that at Oakmont, he's not got a hope in hell of making the cut.
No chance. Yeah, I cannot believe we're having this conversation, because we sat in this room.
I know.
In this room, how many weeks ago? Like a couple months back? Yeah, a few. Yeah. And we're like, we're saying like you can go and win as many majors as he wants now. That's it. Monkey's off the back. He's going to go out. We're getting Rory McIlroy 2.0. Like, he's coming out. He's not going to care. He's just going to hit everything 350 yards down the middle, make a ton of birdies. No one else has got a chance. Now we're sitting here thinking, is he going to make
a birdie?
Well, we're thinking like he's just missed the cut in the Canadian Open by a bunch of shots. Yeah. What's going on? James is right. There's clearly something wrong with the driver.
Yep.
Rory touched on that himself. He said to the media that he'd said to Harry walking down the last fairway on Friday, I was probably walking into the rough the way it was going, but walking down the last hole saying he's going to be testing out a lot of new drivers this week. Don't know what that means. Don't know what he's going to turn up with in the bag this week. It could be a QI10, could be a different sort of QI35.
The Sim,
Could
Stealth,
Sim,
Stealth,
well, that's
M1, R7.
Yeah.
Super quad.
Actually, you know
mini
what?
driver.
Maybe you took the words out of my mouth. Maybe a mini driver. I mean, a
Yeah,
little bit
why
more
not?
control.
Yeah, he's tried it in the
It's
past.
far enough.
Yeah. Why not? So it's bizarre because he was on top of the world a couple months back. Now, I just do not know what's happened. I don't want to say this because I don't fully believe it, but he touched on it himself about when he didn't have the Masters, it was a case of going to the range for 4 or 5 hours, grinding, putting in the extra work. And now he's saying that's difficult for me to do because the motivation might not quite be the same as it was before.
I totally buy into that.
At this level, that's not good.
No, it's not.
Because everyone who doesn't have the talent that Rory McIlroy has thinks, I need to go to the range for these extra reps and these extra few hours to hit these balls to catch up with people like him. If he's not putting that work in, which I don't know, he'll know, then couple that with the driver maybe not working, and all of a sudden we know what golf is like. You don't put that extra bit of work in, things can spiral a little bit. And that seems to be what's happening at the moment.
I can't help but think that this is more Indian than arrows. And the driver clearly isn't working for him. That has to be fixed. But I also think that it is mostly a mental stumbling block that Rory's got right now. The motivation has always been complete the career Grand Slam.
He's done it.
And he's done it. And when that's been your why for so long, and when that's been the next for so long, like the next Masters, now what? You know? And it's a question that he's probably not even given any thought to. Like, well, if I do win the Masters, then what will I reset my expectations to? What will become the thing that I go after that? He's not probably given that any airtime, or very little if he's given it any. And now it's a question of, I've completed it. Which is a really, really, I think, quite a scary thought. And it makes me worry a little bit for Rory because he is an extraordinarily book-smart guy. I mean, his intelligence is off the charts, but I'm not sure he's got I'm going to sound a bit wanky here, but I'm not sure he's got the emotional intelligence or that animalistic hunger to try and find a new motivation that is as big as winning the Masters, because, and maybe it doesn't need to be as big, but it needs to be up there. I mean, he needs to really want to, let's say it's to win double-digit majors. He needs to really want it because he really wanted the Masters. If it's just a case of, well, that's my new goal, I don't know how you summon that motivation, how you summon that energy, how you summon that desire and willingness to go to the range and graft. Like he put it, it's a wonderful predicament to have, but it's still a predicament. You know what I mean? It's
like an emotion. It's like an emotional come down he's on. And I think that's probably what he's kind of like alluding to as well. It's just like, and like what you said, it's like, well, I've won the Masters. That's what I've been trying to do for God knows how long. I've done it. And it's like, oh, thank God. And now he's probably like,
what's next?
Well, yeah, exactly.
That classic,
and the funny thing
meme.
is, like, everyone, us included, said, well, now that he doesn't have the burden of winning the Masters weighing him down, he'll surely go on a tear and start winning majors a massive clip. And unburdened Rory is a scary Rory. Well, wait a minute. Let's assume that we got it wrong. What if the burden has been the thing he's needed that's given him that sort of extra edge? We've assumed that an unburdened Rory McIlroy is a better Rory McIlroy, a more prolific Rory McIlroy. What if an unburdened Rory is a worse Rory McIlroy or a less prolific one? No one knows that, not even Rory himself, but there is definitely the prospect that he needs that burden, that he needed it, that pressure, that something to chase that's enabled him to unlock the very best stuff that he's got. The other thing that I think is really interesting here is that for us as spectators, as fans, as commentators, as journalists, as whatever, this is the first time that we've really seen a player dealing with the aftermath of accomplishing something massive. Because there's no Tiger Woods precedent here. Tiger didn't get to 19 majors, didn't get to 18. That was his Everest. Never got there. We don't know what Jack's was. Was it to get 18 or was it to beat Ben Hogan? I mean, no one really knows. Whereas with Rory, it's been very clear for a very long time career Grand Slam, win the Masters. So we don't have anything to compare it to in the sense of, well, after that person did this is what happened.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
No.
So we're in kind of uncharted territory as
He is.
spectators, in much the same way as Rory is. He is quite literally a man without peer as far as this stuff goes. So I'm fascinated by it. Like, as someone who's interested in psychology and human behavior and all those kinds of things, I am genuinely really fascinated to see what happens next.
Yeah.
As a fan of Rory, however, I'm mega worried.
Because
if he can't massively.
Yeah.
Because look at the age he is now, 36. I mean, if he stays healthy, then he's got another decade plus of playing this game.
Yeah.
That's a long time to go without
a lot of golf left.
Yeah, without that thing pushing you.
Yeah.
That tailwind driving you forward. It's a long, long time to go. So, not to sound too hyperbolic, but I wouldn't be surprised if he canned it, if he can't find that motivation. He could easily get to 40 and go, you know what, I've given it another 4 years after winning the Masters, and I've done it. I don't have it in me anymore. I want to go and do something else. Wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Really?
Genuinely.
I would be surprised. I think he'll turn things around here. Rory's too good not to.
Turn things around in terms of form or in terms of motivator?
Both. I do. I think this is a difficult time for him at the moment in that.
It's a great difficult time.
Yeah,
that's
look,
the thing.
that's the thing. We're talking about
It's
it
a
as
great
if
problem
it's like
to have,
a
isn't it?
disaster and he's in the doldrums and the career is going down the pan. That's not the case at all. He's done what he set out to do. I think the rest of this year was going to be difficult for him in that he's had this incredible success, as we've spoken about. The rest, I don't think he's going to find it at Oakmont.
No,
I don't think this is going to be a great week for him.
Mm.
But going forward, he's going to, I think he'll set himself a new target, whether that's just to win another major, win more Masters, win more Opens. I mean, God, this would be a good Open to win for him, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe winning the Open in Scotland.
St Andrews.
St Andrews. He's going to sit down and think about what his next motivating factors.
But none of them are as big or mean as much or will mean as much as winning the Masters did.
No, I agree with that.
That's where the difficulty comes from.
That's where the difficulty comes from. But I still do think that he's going to find something that's going to motivate him. It might not be the same as the Masters, but
just sufficiently to sustain him.
I would be shocked if in 5 years we're sitting here talking about him giving it all up and canning it, as you say.
It amazes me that I'm even saying it, because a month ago I wouldn't have said that.
No.
But give it a bit more thought, see how he is, see how he's responding to his new reality. And it's just, it's early days. Yeah, there's not a massive, sample size in terms of evidence, but what I'm seeing genuinely worries me a little bit. It's so unlike him, James, don't you think?
Yeah, I think when you've watched someone literally just put all their heart and kind of passion into trying to, achieve that Grand Slam. Now you've done it, and it looks like the wind's just gone out the sails.
Yeah.
You're kind of just like, well, is he giving up? Is he just like, I've done what I've set out to do. I don't want that pressure or burden, or that feeling anymore to try and strive and maybe achieve something else. Maybe he's just kind of like, I'll just play for the next 10 years and what happens, happens. But I'm with Lewis a little bit as well. It's like, I feel like Rory's maybe just kind of in that kind of mindset of a bit in limbo, to be honest, of where he kind of goes next. But I do think he will, refocus himself and kind of figure out what would be a great goal for me next. Would it be kind of going for double digits, or would it be winning at St Andrews, maybe winning an Open on home soil? What is it that's going to drive him to kind of get himself refocused? It could be something like that.
I think Rory is too competitive. This is wired into his brain, and it has been since he was a boy, to just say, oh, that's it, I've done it. I'm going to sit back now and sort of mail it in, as Americans might say.
Yeah.
You've watched Scheffler win, however many tournaments he's won, but especially like the PGA, and think, don't like that. Don't want people going out and being better than him, especially the way that he's playing right now. I think in the short term, this will be a bit of a kick up the backside to say, I'm nowhere near where I should be. He'll work hard at it. Whatever the motivating factor is going to be going forward, he's going to find that. There's no doubt in my mind that he will come back and start playing better golf. It might not be straight away, but he's too good not to. It's in his mind that he knows like how good he is. You know, that's the thing. Like we've spoken about caddies talking to him. Mind when he spoke about JP Fitzgerald, like saying to him walking down the fairway, he's like, "You doing? You're Rory fucking McIlroy. Like stop just messing about." I think you'll have a bit of a conversation like that.
And it took him 8 more years after that to win another major.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like,
I do.
Yeah.
Been a wee bit facetious, but Rory I think we've seen over the years, Rory listens to himself.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't necessarily listen to caddies, doesn't necessarily listen to media or what other people are saying or suggesting or maybe whispering in his ear. I would like to think that somebody has over the last 5 years said to him, you know what, Rory, sit this one out. You know, the PGA Tour's fight against Liv right now is not your fight. I would like to think there is somebody near him who said that to him, but Rory has clearly gone, no, I'll do what I want. And he listens to himself, which I really respect, I really admire. But if that voice in his head is saying to him, as it was saying last week, and what was it he said exactly? I don't know if I'm chasing anything. Going and grinding on the range for 3 or 4 hours every day is maybe a little tougher than it used to. It's hard to find the motivation to get back on the horse and go again. Until that voice in his head stops saying those things, I don't see good things happening.
No, he needs to wake up and just be like, in his own head, he's like, "You're Rory fucking McIlroy, get your shit together." Like
more words to that effect.
Yeah, that's exactly what I like. If it were me and I was in a slump like that, like the way I would say it to myself in my head, that's how I would say it as well. Just to get yourself like, right, refocus. Like, come on, like what you doing? Like you're playing like a muppet at the minute. Like sort it out.
You know what? You'd be a great sports psychologist,
I know.
James. I love
Give
that.
him a call.
There you go.
Listen, enough on Rory because it's now just starting to neg me out a little bit. Let's talk about Scottie Scheffler, presumably the man most likely to win. I mean, his odds are obscenely short this week. The shortest I think I've seen a player's odds to win a major championship since Tiger Woods in his heyday.
Yeah.
Lewis, obviously everyone's expecting Scottie to win, I think, but does his game suit a US Open?
His game suits pretty much everything, doesn't it? I know he spoke about the Open Championship, maybe not quite being his forte yet. That's proper nitpicking. Yeah, his game suits it. We spoke about the need to hit fairways. I don't quite agree with James saying like people need to be cautious, but you still need to hit the ball a long way. He hits a lot of greens, which is great. He doesn't have big misses with his irons, and mentally he's pretty strong as well. We've spoken about bounce back ability, my favorite word. And when he makes a bogey or a double, which he's going to this week, then he seems to think, I'll just go and birdie the next hole. And quite often he does that. So yeah, his
mindset's so strong.
Mindset's so strong. Yeah, his mental game suits it, but his actual golf game suits it as well, and that he doesn't have huge misses. The only one thing that would slightly contradict myself here, he didn't have huge misses with the irons, but with his driver, he'll have that one that goes a bit left and he'll sort of double cross it a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, that'll amount to no worse than a bogey, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Because of, as you say, the way he recovers.
Again, everyone has faults in their game. If that's Scottie's one, which we hardly ever see, then to answer your question, yes, his game does suit a US Open because it's golf, and his game pretty much suits any kind of golf. You could put him on Mars and he'd probably do well.
James, did you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's obviously number one in strokes gained, number one in pretty much everything else across the board when it comes to stats. The one thing that obviously he's maybe not the best at, and you know this has been really nitpicky, is scrambling out of a bunker.
Yeah.
So if there's anything which is close to his being his Achilles heel, it's him in the sand. But apart from that, he's got the whole package.
And there's plenty of sand at Oakmont. I mean, Church Pew's very famously, but I don't know, some of the shaping, I think, of that golf course just mind blowing. When you see the big aerial shots, you can see then just one how good it is, what a brilliant layout it is, but also the threat of the sand traps. So,
no trees.
No trees.
I love that. It looks amazing.
It's like Orkney.
It's fun. Very. That's what they were going
for.
That's
what they modelled it on. Yeah.
It's funny. You look at like the nice
Oakmont
TM.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Glad you said it.
Yeah. You look like the aerial shots, and you look down and you think, oh, that looks all right. It's pretty flat. There's no trees. Just holes are straight away, and then you watch videos of guys like actually playing. You think, oh my god, that's impossible. Terrifying is the word. Yeah.
Scheffler currently 11-4 with some bookmakers. Now that, by the way, I mean, again, just to make this clear, that's not necessarily because he's playing very well. He is, but bear in mind with these odds, it's also a consequence of just how many people are backing him. The bookies are protecting themselves.
Yeah.
Short odds, not always a consequence of that player's just playing well, so keep that in mind. But Bryson's gone out to 7-1, the nearest challenger. Rory's now at 9-1, which, considering what we've just said, feels unbelievably short. John Ram at 12, Xander Schauffele at 18, I think that is, and Colin Morikawa 20-1. So, yeah, interesting the way it's shaping up. More on the US Open coming up in part 2 of today's episode. We'll look at a few more runners and riders. Before we go there, though, it's time for Asked and Answered. Gentlemen, if the answer is 10,202 people, then what is the question? Whilst you're thinking, a few responses from social media. Daniel Storton, what is the amount of people it feels like watching you when you tee off after a 4-ball hits you play through? Yes. At least, I would say, Daniel, at least 10,000. That's got to be one of the scariest things in golf.
Yeah,
right?
It's nothing worse. Yeah, especially if you're not having a good day and they're all looking at you like, oh, this boy's a good player.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not.
I'm terrible.
Expectations down.
Iron off the tee.
Yeah, that is worse. There's more that can go wrong.
Puzzle.
Stuart Bendoris, how many people are ahead of Sergio Garcia for a Ryder Cup pick? Ooh.
Oh, that's harsh.
That is harsh.
Yeah. Sergio did say that if Luke asked him to play, Sergio would say no right now, which I think he was being a bit facetious about, but still.
Honestly, do you think he would? No.
He's taking the invite. Of course he's playing. Yeah, of course he is.
Hi, Sergio. Is Luke here? Would you like to play? Nah. Listen, I'll put the team above myself. Of course he's picking himself.
Yeah, of course he would. Yeah.
Sergio's on the phone to him right now.
Yeah.
Look, please pick me.
I was only joking about that.
Pick me. And Craig Meikle, lastly, piss off, Craig. The amount of people who've said they can do better at positive merit than Michael.
Brilliant.
And we will come to that in part 2. Gents, your answers.
How many marshals have been hired to find golf balls this week at Oakmont?
Tell you, and that's in the first hole.
Yeah, just the first. Yeah,
exactly. Hard job for the marshals this week.
Yeah,
those little flags are going to get a proper workout.
They're going to be running it. They better be big flags. Those little ones going to be no use. They actually have to be like pins that you put in the green.
I was about to say.
Yeah. Is it the number of hangers on between ropes at most tour events?
I tell you what, so I noticed this last night in the Nations League final between Portugal and Spain. The amount of people on the pitch now, at the end of a final in a football match, on the pitch waiting for the trophy presentation, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
there was hundreds. There were guys in suits going up to Cristiano Ronaldo saying, "I can get a selfie with you." Just go away.
Just like hospitality or something.
Like that guy. Oh, what's his name? Really annoying steak guy.
Salt
Bay.
Salt Bay.
At the World Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, how are these people getting on the pitch?
It's a joke, isn't it?
It's nonsense.
Yeah.
And it's
get away.
I was watching that last night and it reminded me of the inside the ropes at the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, the Ryder Cup particularly.
Mental.
So
10th,
not good for fans.
Yeah. Not at all. It's
got
people who've paid for tickets and then this twerp gets to walk on.
Yeah, twerp's right. Yeah.
You're wrong, Lewis, I'm afraid, but good stab at it. James?
How many people call bullshit on my 462-yard drive?
Well, it's there. It's on social media.
And it's right. Yeah,
not everything on social media is real, though.
I know exactly.
So you know,
everyone thinks everyone's capping.
What are you trying to say about Elon Musk? I will stop that right there.
Stop.
No, gentlemen, you are both wrong. I'll reveal the answer on the other side of this break.
Tee off with our exclusive Hot Eagle breaks at McDonald's Golf Hotels and Resorts, including Spey Valley Aviemore and Cardrona Resort in Peebles, both recent hosts of the Tartan Pro Tour, with stunning locations and a championship golf course featured at both 4-star hotels. One-night golf breaks from only £95 per person at Cardrona and £115 per person at Spey Valley. Be flexible on date and get the best rate, but be an early birdie. Limited spaces available. Search McDonald's Hot Eagle breaks for more.
Welcome back. Part 2 of this week's Bunkered podcast in association with Callaway, Michael, James, Lewis. producer Dex out of shot, all here with you. Hello, thank you for your time. So asked and answered before the break. The answer, 10,202 people. What is the question? The correct answer is how many people entered qualifying for the US Open this year? A new championship record. I think one of our listeners had suggested that earlier on. One of the things they like best about the US Open is the fact that anyone can attempt to, well, yes, exactly. Anyone can attempt to qualify. So, James, that's something for you to consider next year?
Oh, we'll put it on the list of things to do. Might as well, just give it a bash and see what happens.
Just so long as it fits deadlines for the magazine.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably have to do a lot of work pre-US Open anyway, so it might not happen.
Might not fit the schedule.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Bryson
and Scottie are safe for now.
Yeah. Thank
goodness.
That's the match that people want to see, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's funny. I saw somebody did ask you on social media over the weekend, with the length that you hit the ball, was actually turning pro and trying to compete on tour ever a consideration for you? But as you will say yourself, there's a lot more to it than that.
Oh, 100%. Like, I gave it a go at one point, but reality was the worst part of my game was off the tee. Because I had,
Really?
I had so much speed, but I couldn't control it with the equipment at the time.
Okay.
So
it was the equipment's fault.
Well, you say it, but it was because I used to rock up to get fitted for driver, but they never had any shafts that were right for me because they weren't stiff enough. Because I was at that time, so much faster than the average golfer, so it made it incredibly difficult. But then when I started to get fitted properly, now everything's like a lot better. A lot
so now
tighter.
that you can get the gear that you need, senior tour.
I mean, it's not out of the question.
Really?
Yeah, because if I can maintain that speed and distance, going as I get older, the courses are shorter. There's no reason why not.
Had a question here from someone on social media. Andrew Nixon is asking what your driver setup is.
Oh, very good question. I've got at the minute the Callaway Paradigm long drive head. So this is specifically made for long drive.
You can't buy this in the shops.
Can't get it in the shops. Only on special request. It comes at a standard 4.5 degrees.
That's like a potter.
Yeah,
that's like a Scottish summer.
Yeah, and then it's got a -2 degree sleeve on it, so it's taken down to 2.5 degrees of loft. Got a TPT 21 high power shaft, which is 205 CPM, which plays like a senior flex, almost a ladies flex.
Right. Okay.
But that's because with the longer swing, you can really take advantage of that extra little bit of lag and whip in the shaft. If you time it correctly, you can get a little bit more with club speed as well.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So this is just for your long drive rather than if you're going for 9 holes.
If I was going out for 9 holes, I've got the Callaway Elite Triple Diamond 8 degree head set at 7 with the Denali black 6.5 in it.
Well, there you go. Another quick question since we've got you answering a few. This is a good one. Someone's asking where you find this is optimal for your ball placement and your stance in order to hit these bombs. What's the optimal position? And this is something that's
quite a good
people
one.
always, I mean, there's never going to be a right one answer.
No.
But where do you put the ball in your stance?
I will put it as far forward as feels comfortable. So it will be on my left heel or kind of on my big toe of my left foot kind of thing.
Okay. That's quite far forward on your toe.
Well, this is what a lot of people need to also realize as well. If you want to hit the ball further, you need to be able to hit up on the ball. Like if you tee the ball down low and you have it too center on your stance, you're going to have too much of a negative angle of attack, which is going to come out low. It's going to spin and you're just going to squeeze it, but it's going to spin too much. If you put it further forward and hit the ball in the up, you're not only going to get the ball in the air and hit it higher, you're going to have a little less, maybe less spin than what you would when you're trying to kind of squeeze it off the middle of your stance. But you're going to see a longer carry. You're going to get a better rollout as well, and you're going to see better distances too.
Well, there you go.
I'd try that.
There you go.
Simple as that.
Yeah, good.
I've been trying to tell Lewis that the whole time, but he doesn't want any advice.
No.
Listen, if you've got other questions for James that you'd like to know about long drive, because it's a fascinating scene.
I could talk for hours.
Personally, I think it should be part of the Olympic movement. I know that James would absolutely agree with that.
That'd be great.
Just, make the javelin great again. except have golf involved.
Yeah.
Who wants to see someone throw like a knitting needle 20 metres when you could have a guy launching a driver 462 yards? I know what I'd sooner watch.
And I want that gold medal too.
Sorry, Steve Backley. So yeah, send us any questions you've got for James and we will put them to him on next week's episode. We might even do a little story on the website where James answers your best questions. So yes, it is US Open week, gentlemen. A reminder for everyone that our US Open daily bulletin will be going out from Tuesday through to Sunday. That way you're going to get all the news, all the latest goings on, tee times, TV guide, quizzes, opinion pieces, the whole lot will be sitting in your inbox every single morning in time for breakfast. What do you guys have for breakfast very quickly? Are you toast or cereal or something meatier?
Yeah, I had some Cheerios this morning.
Cheerios,
yeah,
shout.
cereal. Yeah,
I'm a crunchy nut guy.
Crunchy nut. Excellent scenes.
I'm allergic to nuts, so that would finish me off a bowl of them.
Oh, yeah.
Suggest you don't have
I'll steer
those.
clear.
That'll be the last breakfast.
Yeah.
Literally the last supper.
Yeah. But the
Yeah.
last breakfast.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, yeah, you'll get all the latest sent to your inbox every morning in time for breakfast. Cheerios, Crunchy Nut Cornflakes, or whatever else it might be that you're having. So go to the Bunker website. All you have to do is drop your email address in there in one of the forms that are provided on the stories, and you will be automatically opted in to receive our content. Right then, gents. Let's talk about Bryson. Obviously, defending champion. He won in such thrilling circumstances last year at Pinehurst. This Oakmont, Pinehurst, very, very different tests of golf. So it's a little bit apples and oranges, despite the fact that they'll be set up to be as tough as possible. That's the only real similarity. James, what are you expecting from your fellow big hitter this week? Look at how your eyes just lit up when I said that as well. I knew they would.
Yeah. No, I'm expecting exactly what we've seen from Bryson so far in the majors. Like, he's been thereabouts. He's always contending. I can imagine he's probably looking at what holes he can take on, what holes he needs to back off on, because obviously with that rough, if he gets in trouble, he could be in a lot of trouble. And we know if the driver is not on, he is a long way in trouble. So it'll be really interesting to see how he kind of approaches it. But he has matured quite a lot with his mentality. He's not going around saying, it's like, oh yeah, Augusta's like R67. Those days,
that feels like a long time ago.
Those days are long. Those days are long gone. He's definitely matured a lot with his game. He knows his game a lot more. Like, he's very, very specific on how he's going to approach it with his preparation. He's so analytical, and he's a mad scientist for a reason. He's looking at everything. But he's also going in with a new set of irons.
Oh, tell me more.
So these are the new LA golf irons, which he was seen just using at the last Live event
In Virginia, the one
Yes.
weekend, right?
Now they look very similar to the Avoda irons he's playing, but there's a slight difference to them. They've got like a kind of blacked out, what looks like an adjustable kind of weight on the toe at the back of the club, which, if you're kind of familiar with the way irons are designed, there's usually a bit of weight that goes into the toe because it helps with the stability, which is what Bryson probably needs when he's swinging at those speeds. Now, there's not a huge amount on them because they are prototypes at the minute.
Okay.
You can see the picture
I'm looking
there.
at them right now. Yeah, my goodness, they're
So
different.
So they are a little bit different. So I reckon these added that little bit of weight on that toe there just to give them a little bit more stability. I would imagine they still have the same bulge and roll.
Yeah, and by the looks of it, he's drilled out some weight as well from the back of the club head.
Yeah.
That looks pretty coarsely done, which I would suggest is maybe done by him.
It'll be done by him or someone on...
He's got people.
He's got
he's got people.
He's got a driller.
Yeah.
It'll be someone on a tour van. Like, you can
Like
see
Bruce Willis and Armageddon.
you can see right there, there's a bit of lead tape on the back, and that's just for swing weight.
Okay.
But you can see how kind of similar they are in comparison to the Avoda's irons as well.
very similar.
So I would
almost a full face of grooves as well, which is quite unusual looking for irons these days.
Yeah. So with someone of his speeds, with that bulge and roll on the irons, which is what those Avoda irons have, I'd imagine the LA golf irons will be exactly the same, but just with a little bit of a different look and a bit more weight in the toe, I would imagine, for stability. Just so those slight mishits, which, let's be honest, are probably still going to be central hits for the rest of us, are going to be even straighter. So Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he takes on the week.
And that's the thing, Lewis. I always get a bit of fear when I hear that a player's putting in something new into their bag for major week, particularly when it's a new set of irons. It's
done it before.
He has, and he's done okay with it.
Yeah.
But it does remind me of when I went to do my first half marathon in 2006. I made the mistake of training in a set of trainers and then bleeding in quite literally a brand new set of trainers from race day itself.
That's
I mean,
a problem.
you know, the occasion of the big event is never really the time to be debuting or trialing new equipment.
Yep.
And here's Bryson just gone and stuck in a half new bag. Bold.
It's bold, but Bryson is different. He's played them
bold.
Live, as you're saying, James, and we know that Bryson will have tested them so much before. So he's clearly very confident.
Them right now.
Yeah, right, probably at this waking moment. Yeah. What am I expecting from Bryson this week? I'm going to give away my order of merit pick here, but I don't care because I'm going first anyway. I'm expecting him to win.
Really?
Yeah, I think he'll win this week. I watched his video playing Oakmont, so he played it sort of for his YouTube channel a few weeks back. I think this place just suits him so well.
It's got somewhat winged foot vibes.
Yes,
he did so
precisely.
Well
I can just picture that being a perfect fit for him as winged foot was.
Yeah.
James is talking about cautious approaches to this week. I don't think that's the way to go at all. If you try and play cautious, you're going to miss some fairways anyway. Everyone's going to miss fairways, even the straightest hitters in the PGA Tour.
And he doesn't have it in him to be cautious.
No, he doesn't. The straightest hitters are hitting like 70% of fairways, PGA Tour roughly.
Yeah.
Bryson on Live, like, it's not like he's missing every fairway. He's like 63%. That's similar to Scottie Scheffler. So, as much as we think that Bryson's hitting it miles and all over the planet, it's not really the case. He hits it really, really straight the distances that he does. He's sneakily good with the putter as well. The way that he thinks about things, he's really methodical. I think that's going to be a good fit for this week in that he's got a system on these greens. Other guys are going to see it. They're going to get spooked. He's thinking, well, it's however many, the angle. I'm going to completely butcher what his system is in the greens
here we go.
But, well, there's aim point there, and then he factors in the slope reading and will aim a certain distance out. But then on whether it's uphill or downhill, you'll say if it's a 20-foot putt, but it's a certain slope down the hill, then you'll play it as like a 40.
There's a lot of numbers.
There's a lot of numbers in there, but clearly it works for him.
Yep.
Yeah, I do think this is tailor-made for him because everyone's going to miss fairways. If you're going to miss them, you might as well miss them close to the
That's the thing. I think he gets written off by a lot of people because he's unorthodox. But unorthodox doesn't mean that he's playing bad. Unorthodox means he's playing differently to everybody else.
Has to.
If you look at the way he swings the club, the way he stands, at address, everything's quite stiff and upright. It's the same with his wedges. There's the arms are almost chained together. Everything's so straight and a bit rigid looking. And then the putter's exactly the same. I mean, the way that Bryson sets up and hits the golf ball, you wouldn't find many people teaching that.
No.
There's so many PGA pros, no disrespect to any of them whatsoever, but it feels like a lot of them are trying to teach the Butch Harmon swing. No one's teaching someone how to play like Bryson DeChambeau.
No.
Because it suits one guy, and that guy is Bryson. He's changed his irons. He finished tied fourth in Live at the weekend. He's producing good numbers. And look at the most recent majors. 5 of the last 6 major championships, he's been inside the top 6. That includes a win. He's won this event twice before. Like I said, winged foot gives me somewhat Oakmont vibes. But even if it didn't, he's won in 2 very different styles of US Open test, winged foot and Pinehurst, poles apart, as different as it gets. This is a guy who loves the challenge and loves the questions that a US Open asks you. I think he's got because he loves that part of it so much and because it appeals to that analytical side of his brain, I think he is predisposed to be way more patient than almost anybody else in the field, which makes him a big, big threat. So, I'm gutted you've chosen him, to be honest, Liz.
You can still talk me out of it. Don't worry.
I don't think I'm going to be able to after that. So,
no.
Bryson, I mean, there's just so much to like about him. He's box office, he's entertaining, the way that he goes about his business, the way he engages with people. His game's matured. I'm not necessarily sure if he's matured. He's just reached a point in his life and in his career where he's very comfortable with who he is. So.
He's a bit of a dork at times. Like you watch him on his channel and he's sort of like playing up to the camera and all
Like,
this.
oh my God!
Yeah,
I cannot
exactly,
believe that.
There was one bit where
I
he's
hate
like,
that so
he's going
much.
round and he's
It fucking drives me nuts when I see that. I'm just like, mate, like, wind your neck in a wee bit. Like, it's a bit
But
OTT, isn't
it's
it?
good. Yeah, it's far.
But look at how many people are following.
people
look at how
love
many
it.
people are
Yeah, I'm
watching.
all for it. Yeah,
You're just an old boomer.
yeah. Get over it.
Boomer, I am.
Oh, done it again.
He was walking into, like, I can't remember what hole it was, but he walked off like the front of a tee and just dropped the ball in rough that's like never going to be in play. It's just there for the looks of the course. And he's like, oh my God, like, what if I hit it in here? I'm like, Bryson, you're not going to hit it in there. It's like 20 yards in front of you. You're going to duff it into that, mate. So
One thing I will say, if there's a negative, he didn't exactly produce his best stuff in the final round at the Masters. I would have thought a showman like that on that stage up against Rory, the guy who was chasing history, it was just set up. It was the perfect stage that day for Bryson.
Yeah.
And
he did the same thing the year before, though.
Yeah.
Same thing as well.
Yeah. So we will see.
We shall see.
Yeah. Will get it over
One man we're likely to see for what looks like being the final time in the US Open is Phil Mickelson. He was amongst the players who tied for fourth with Bryson in the Live event in Virginia at the weekend, and producing that little bit of classic Phil magic as well with that chip in. Just, I mean, that again, that's the short version of it. Just go and have a look when you finish listening to this.
Chip in is
go
really
and search. Go and search for Phil shot in Virginia. It is. If you were to look up in a multimedia style dictionary that kids are going to have in about 10 years' time, if you looked up Phil Mickelson, that is the clip that you could show for. It sums up his career perfectly. It's just classic Phil. But this does look like it's going to be his last US Open. His exemption that he activated after winning the PGA in 2021 expires after this year. And unless some miracle happens, and it may.
Don't count him out.
Don't count him out at all. It may happen, but likely won't. It appears that Phil is going to end his career missing the one championship, the one title that he's craved the most. He is one leg short of the career Grand Slam. But unlike Rory, who got across the line, James, I kind of feel like it's just not going to happen for Phil. As much of a fairy tale as it would be.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he is kind of coming to the end of it. I mean, it was only last year he put in a hell of a performance, obviously at the Masters, and showed some glimmers that he could still play some incredible golf.
But they're glimmers now. It's just glimmers.
Exactly.
It's not sustained.
It's kind of like and then it's just like that's the balloon just kind of like deflating a wee bit. But I mean, being runner-up 6 times though, that is tough. Mm-hmm. That is really tough. And some of the guys he's obviously come runner-up to, like obviously your Payne Stewarts, your Tiger Woods, I think
Justin Rose.
Goosen, I think, was also one of them.
Goosen, yeah, you're right. Yeah, 2004 at Shinnecock.
But like, yeah, I mean, it's quite clearly
Lucas Glover.
Yeah.
There's been a few that's got away.
Yeah.
I think is how I would put it.
100%. But that is the US Open. You're going to have those moments where if you get up and down or you scramble or if you two-putt from distance from a tricky part of the green, those are the shots that are going to, have you thereabouts on Sunday. But like, yeah, for him, I think it's sad that it's coming to an end, but
all good things must.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, I'm just kind of looking at it now, like he's missed the cut.
He's missed the cut in 4 of the last 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So not amazing.
Yeah, tied 52, tied 62 in 21. I'm not liking his chances in this year either. So yeah, it'd be sad to see him.
34th appearance in the US Open this week, Lewis. I mean, if you think back 20 years or so, it was almost impossible to imagine that Phil wouldn't win the US Open at some point. They'd almost stumble into it. But what do you think's the reason why he hasn't ever been able to do it? What's been the decisive factor?
If you think about what US Opens are, then it's probably the big miss off the tee, which Phil's always had in his game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking back to Winged Foot 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a tough one because that is one that he did get away. And if I remember right, he hit a pretty poor drive off 18, didn't he? And that kind of cost him.
Yeah.
That's probably been the deciding factor. And then probably what we're talking about with Bryson is like just being quite steady all the time and sort of always having a plan and sticking to it. Can't, examples are escaping me, but Phil's the guy who's sort of swashbuckling and will do everything his own way.
Yeah.
Hit it as far as he can.
US Open, the Scottish Open at Castle Stewart in 2013, was it the one that he won?
Yeah.
Good example there. I mean, right up against the face of, I think, a bunker or maybe a grass bunker on the 18, and then, produces again this miracle shot, 60, 70 feet in the air, drops it stone dead next to the pin, taps in to win. I mean, that's classic Phil the Thrill stuff there, but being thrilling implies that thrilling isn't dominant. Thrilling is glimmers and glimpses of dominance, glimpses of brilliance. And unfortunately, the US Open's such an exacting test that you need to have it all.
Yeah, you do. It's
almost a miracle that he's been second 6 times.
This is the thing. You don't want to be too harsh on him because he's been in contention so much, but you just need everything to come together for you. And clearly it hasn't, unfortunately. And I don't think that is going to happen this week either. I think probably the way Oakmont looks, it's probably going to be a missed cut for Phil.
I'd be surprised.
I'd love him to prove me wrong. I'd love him to prove all of us
Would
wrong.
you?
Yeah, it would be great. It'd be a great story. If he was to go and be up there, but I don't think it's going to happen. So.
Just don't need his social media. It's such a disappointment.
Yeah, that's
really is.
I know Joachim Newman's going to win, isn't he?
Well, maybe. I mean,
he won at
outsiders.
I know he did win at the weekend.
It seems strange to say that Joachim Newman's a bit of an outsider, a bit of a dark horse to win, but his major record is so bad.
I know.
He kind of is in that category, but to whatever extent you think this is important or otherwise, winning on live or anywhere else, it's pretty impressive. And he's got 6 live titles to his name now. Another one at the weekend.
I think he's won 4 out of 8 this season on live.
Yeah,
which is mental.
No, you're right.
There are Formula One drivers, like Formula One world champions, who don't win half the races.
Yeah.
And it feels like it should be easier to do that.
So it is. It is easier to do that. Probably, if you have the fastest car, and you're probably gonna. It's like starting like 2 tee boxes in front, isn't it?
Well, basically.
Yeah.
Is he
not quite?
Is he in the conversation? Do you think?
I mean, if you look at his run of form from this year, I mean, you can't rule him out. He hits it very long. I think he can be a bit erratic off the tee though, but clearly something's obviously clicking when he's playing on live. So if he can take that form across into playing into the majors, he's definitely not out of the question.
He's coming off the back of his best major finish as well. His first ever top 10 finish, tied 8th at the PGA. So
I'm not convinced.
No?
I mean, tied 8th is great. He wasn't really in contention in that major. I can't remember his exact scores, but he came from quite far down the field to finish there, which is good. And that's signs of life, and that sort of gets the top 10 monkey off his back. But at the moment, until he actually competes and is up there, then no, I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be part of the conversation.
So if not Neiman, who is the dark horse for this week?
Oh, I've got one.
Go for it.
Ben Griffin.
Is he playing?
He's playing this week though.
Well, he took a rest last week.
He took a rest last week. Yeah.
So I mean, that's brilliant.
So I think Ben Griffin's won twice this year. Yeah. 7 top 10s already in 2025. Definitely on a good bit of form. Pretty solid off the tee to green as well.
Yep.
So I would say he's got a very good outside chance of. He might not win it, but I reckon he'd definitely be up there.
Interesting.
Lewis?
I don't quite know if he counts an outsider. I'm going to go for Shane Lowry.
Yeah, he did so well at Oakmont last time. Was he not leading by 4 going into the final round?
I
or
think
leading
he was certainly leading. Anyway. Yeah. A really good long iron player. Something that's underrated in Shane's game. Everyone thinks about a short game.
Par 3s, eh?
Yes.
No.
Yes, he will.
Yeah.
So regardless of whether you like them or not, Shane will probably do well.
Well, they're there.
So that's good. So he's going to have to deal with them.
Still be hitting driver on the 291 now.
Probably not.
Stupid.
Yeah. Do you want me to carry on with the Shane Lowry stuff? Do you have anything else you want to throw at me?
All I needed was a name. I'm going to say Corey Connors. He's becoming a bit of a popular pick, I think, for people. He's had a great couple of years, to be honest. And again, iron's one of the strengths of his game. It's going to come down to accuracy off the tee and a bit of patience and getting lucky with a few putts. But that iron strength that he's got, I like him. He's solid tee to green. Sepp Straka as well.
Yeah.
I think he's just
having a great season.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
So, I wouldn't be surprised to see those guys in the mix.
I agree with the Straka shout. I think he'll be up there.
That's a great shout.
Really well done.
obviously we mentioned the 10,000 odd qualifiers that made it in. There's always some great stories. Lewis, any that stand out to you?
I think James and I have probably picked out the same guy
Most
here,
likely.
which is Alistair Doherty.
Yeah.
Was in a car crash the week before, and quite a bad one by all accounts, not just a bump in the motorway, but he was in hospital.
Head brace and everything.
Oh my word.
I think he said he was in hospital for around 9 hours. And this is the quote that I think he told the Corn Ferry Tour. I was covered in glass, there was blood everywhere, and I went to hospital for 8 or 9 hours to make sure I had no broken bones or no bad injuries.
Oh.
That was a week before US Open qualifying. It's not ideal preparation. We're talking about Rory having to get a new driver.
Yeah.
That's
puts it in perspective a wee bit, doesn't
perspective. This guy's gone and then qualified for his first start in a major. So fair play to him.
Fair play.
That's good going.
Alistair Doherty.
Yes, not Scottish.
He sounds it.
He does sound it. I saw his name and I was like, oh my God, is there a connection here? And then Googled it and I was like, oh my God, what's happened?
He'll be
Inverness.
I know.
I
Iowa,
know,
probably.
He'll be one of the Americans. I'm like 36th Scotch.
Scotch is a drink.
Yeah, well, that's how they say it.
That's insane, isn't it? That is a great story. I'd love to see him do well.
Yeah. On the other end of the spectrum, I was happy to see Cam Young get through a playoff to get in. Look, Canadian Open last night kind of showed he's had his troubles. He's such a good ball striker.
He's so miserable.
But he is miserable. Yeah. He
looks like he is being made to do this against his will.
Yeah. Like
a kid when you were younger being forced to do something you just don't want to do. It's all your mates, all your mates are doing it. Why do you not want to do it?
He has the look of someone whose mum has told him, eat your broccoli.
Qualified for the US Open. He was like, oh, I need to go now, don't I? Like, for God's sake, I was hoping to have a week off for a week. Yeah. Wasn't celebrating or anything, just walked as if he'd just made a putt for par in the practice green. Bizarre.
Never up, never down.
Yeah, never up, never down. Maybe that's a good thing.
Maybe down more than up.
It seems more down than up. Yeah.
It was his comments last night, and I get it. I fully appreciate that he would be devastated, but he's just like, just want to go. Just want to get out of there.
Fair enough. At least he stopped to speak to the media.
Ooh. Sly dig.
Very, very sly. Right, let's move on to predictions then, and it is Podder of Merit time. That's where we do our predictions. Last week, the RBC Canadian Open. James, you went for Ben Griffin.
Good call that.
Had you done any prep whatsoever, you would have known that Ben Griffin wasn't playing. Lanto Griffin was playing.
Do you know what it was? I went down the entry list and I was just looking at going through the surnames and then.
Oh, good to know that's how you prep. Any name will do.
No, not that. And as soon as I saw Griffin, I was like, oh, Ben Griffin, not realizing that it was
you didn't
Lanto
see Ben
Griffin.
though.
Well, I saw Griffin, but I thought it was Ben. But then obviously it was Lanto. So yeah, good one. Good one for me.
No points for you.
Yeah, it's almost as good as a missed cut.
So all I needed to do.
Great segue there.
All I needed to get a much needed point was for Max Homa to make the cut. All he had to do was make the cut, and I'm getting something. Thanks, Max. Somehow missed the cut. No points for me. Lewis, you're the only one who covered himself in any glory last week. Nick Taylor, Canadian man himself, finished in a tie for 13th, getting you 2 points. Now, this is very important because those 2 points have moved you to 13.
Yes.
Lewis, James is back on 10 and I'm on 2. Whatever.
Yeah.
But this week, if your player wins the 2 points, you win your first season of pod. In fact,
yeah. Oh God. Nah, I want a bigger one than that. Come on.
No.
All right.
You'll get the white belt. I'll be getting the white belt of shame.
The white belt of shame. But that should be a thing.
Yeah.
Bring that in.
But yeah, if your player wins the 2 points this week, you win Podder. So,
sure.
And it's all down to Bryson DeChambeau.
It is. Yeah, correct.
Bryson DeChambeau is going to win you the points.
I've not changed my mind in the last 20 minutes. Yeah, as we said, I think this week sets up so well for him. It looks like winged foot. Everyone's going to hit it in the rough. Bryson, I think something we didn't touch on is that he's physically really, really strong. He's a big guy. So when he finds himself in the rough, he's not like...
He can get out of it.
He's not a wee guy like me where he's going to hurt his wrists and not move the ball 10 yards. He's going to be able to gouge it out. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about my pick this week.
I actually think it's your turn, James. I couldn't figure out who was next.
I think it's got to be yours.
It's got to be mine, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because his guy didn't play.
Yeah, it didn't start.
Go on.
Yeah. So I'm running out of options here. I am just going to check because I've now got the fear. I have the fear that I've picked this guy already.
Oh, I thought you meant
Steve
you had
the
the
ref
fear.
saying
Come
he
on,
wasn't
Steve
in
the
the
ref.
field.
Steve. Right, I've not picked him, and I've just changed my mind. I've seen somebody else I've not picked.
All right.
I was going to go with Colin Morikawa, but I just don't
Terrible
have
shout.
enough faith.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
Just, it feels like this was meant to be a big year for him because he'd finished last year so strongly, started this year pretty well, and it's just not happening.
Yeah.
Hail Mary time.
Oh,
This again.
go for it.
Big old Hail Mary. Rory McIlroy.
Oh, I can't believe you've not picked him yet.
Neither can I.
Are you sure?
Certain. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Scheffler, Batia, Smalley, Oberg, Lydia Ko, Justin Thomas. I mean, to be fair, no wonder I've only got 2 points.
Yeah.
But I couldn't pick McIlroy because
We were picking him.
You were picking
yeah,
him.
of course.
picked Scheffler at the Players and
Yeah.
he didn't win, so then I couldn't pick him again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be Rory.
Yeah.
I stand by everything I said in part 1.
Mm.
All the fears, all the concerns, they're all legitimate. They're all very real. They're all very present. But I have to just,
Yeah,
I've got to launch a grenade and just hope that if
he finds it.
something, you know what, Rory,
Mm.
go and get yourself an R7 quad mini driver, a little bit more control, keep it in play off the tee.
They are good though. Those mini drives are amazing.
Please.
Yeah.
I'm begging you. So yeah, saw that. Rory for me. James?
Fair enough.
Scottie Scheffler.
Fine.
This rule's ridiculous that when someone wins, you can just pick them again. Because
Ooh.
James keeps picking Scheffler.
Oh, that's
Well-
why he keeps winning.
Yeah.
It's only the second time he's picked him.
Third, I think.
No.
He had him at
Is
the
it?
Memorial.
See, I thought that. I thought that
Oh,
too,
right,
but
okay.
I think it was.
Oh,
I
it was
think
me that picked him. He didn't win.
Yeah.
Like, brilliant.
Yeah.
You picked him for the Masters and he
Right.
did win. And you've not picked him again since.
Right.
Genuinely.
Okay.
Steve the
fine.
ref is the
Steve,
man in
yeah.
charge of all this.
That's-
I'm looking. Oh no, he didn't win the
he
Masters.
didn't
What
win
am I
the
talking
Masters.
about?
Yeah, no, Rory won.
Yeah,
the
Rory won the
Masters.
Masters. That's
I think-
fine.
I
You
think-
picked him. He didn't
that's
win.
what
I think,
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's
It's
where we're
fine.
getting
Just
confused.
move on. It's
You're
all okay.
confusing me.
Steve's on it.
Steve knows what he's doing.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Steve's got it.
So
I'm sticking. Yeah.
Bryson DeChambeau, Rory McIlroy, James, who are you having?
Scottie Scheffler.
Scottie
Right.
Scheffler.
Yeah, Scottie Scheffler.
Oh, picking the best player in the world. What a shot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, tee to green, best in the world. What more can I say?
Here, at least you know he's going to play this week, though.
You should do.
Yeah, yeah.
No
Fingers-
ravioli.
I know,
Yeah.
imagine that. Imagine that. Arrested for the second time.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Knowing my luck, Rory will pull out. Anyway, those are the picks, as imaginative as they've been for the US Open.
Yeah.
We'll finish with Bear Lies. Lewis.
That's my turn.
Louis, should we go?
Yes.
What have you got for us?
Is there?
What have you learned from recent attempts at Bear Lies that we're going to bring to this one?
That I'm not very good at it, but thankfully
At
I don't
guessing
need
or
to,
lying?
Yeah, guessing.
Okay.
Yeah. So thankfully I don't need to guess this
Okay.
time.
Go for it.
I've seen 3 hole-in-ones or holes in one in my life. I've made 2 of them. Matteo Manacero made the other.
By the way, how good was it to see Manacero
Brilliant. Really, really
contending
good.
over the weekend?
Yeah.
I know he
No,
didn't get it done,
yeah.
Nah, that's what reminded me
but
of
Of that.
This.
or did it?
yes.
That's the thing.
Or did
Yes,
it
it
remind you of when? Did you see it in person?
Yeah, I mean I've seen others on TV. Come on.
Just
I saw one on TV last week.
Yeah.
You and Ferguson.
Just trying to see if it's a
lie or not.
All
Shut
right.
up on your side.
Yes, I saw it in person.
It's a good point.
Yeah, fair
Good
enough.
call,
Yeah,
bad
stupid
exactly.
questions.
Yeah.
Okay,
Keep going.
fair
Keep
enough.
going.
Yeah.
Good start.
Okay. Where were your 2 holes in one?
So my first one was at D-side on the 14th hole. I was playing a Junior Open, and it was actually nearest the pin hole for the Junior Open. And let me get this.
You didn't
right.
win it because you got a hole in one.
Can't get
Well,
near the pin on that.
I did win it.
The ball was
The
actually
ball was
against
actually
the pin.
touching the pin. It was
Yeah.
the distance was 0.
Do you know how that works?
Well,
Or is it, if it's not longest drive, I'm not interested.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Michael Lowry was like
Oh, son of Paul.
was 4 or 5 feet away, I think. And then I hold it, so beat him.
What was the
Oh,
prize?
I don't know if there,
'Cause it
I can't
didn't happen.
remember. I was like 15
They
at
were
the
only
time.
doing magic twos that day.
Yeah, don't I didn't enter the 2s. Tight. No, I don't remember the prize, but I won
Yeah.
the pin there.
That's
Nice.
the thing. I remember
yeah.
every prize I've ever won.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that would apply to me that didn't happen. You
All
can't
right.
remember the prize.
Okay.
How long ago was it? Junior Open? How old were you?
Junior, I think I was 15. Yeah, and then my second one. Do you want to hear about the second one?
Go for it. Why not?
Yeah.
He's skipping ahead quite quickly, trying to.
All right. No, if you want to ask more about this is fine.
I feel like that one's true. Okay. Yeah. What was your second one?
It was at Aloha, the 11th hole.
Shaw Park.
Aloha.
Shaw Park. Yeah. Used to play university golf there, and didn't actually see it go in. I've not seen either of my ones go in, but it pitched behind the hole, spun back. That was good. My playing partner hit it to like an inch as well, so that was quite
you didn't see it, but you know it spun
I know
back
it went
into the
in,
hole.
yeah.
So the pitch part was.
Yeah.
All right. Whose side are you on here?
Mine.
Okay, great. Okay.
Manacero.
Manacero, where
Yes,
was that?
the 8th at Castle Stewart, now Cabot Highlands, Scottish Open. He
Good par 3.
Really good par 3. And yeah, he made a 1 there in the Scottish Open. I think it might have been the year we mentioned it that Phil won, actually.
2013.
Think
Possible.
so. I think it was.
Possible, yeah.
What were the wind conditions?
It was quite calm. Do remember it was good weather that year. We always sort of complained that it was never that windy for this course, and they sort of tore it apart. That's what you need in links courses, isn't it?
I was there. I was reporting on that tournament. I spent the whole week there, and I'm racking my brain.
I could have the year wrong. I was at all of them.
Aye, yeah.
So,
Here we go, backtracking already.
Yeah.
Lie.
Stick that bike in reverse.
But yeah,
put
I've
it in reverse,
I've
Darren.
never seen any others. None of my playing partners have ever made one.
I've never seen one.
Never ever.
Never ever.
God.
I've
Right.
never had one.
No.
Never seen one.
No.
Mm.
But yeah, I've obviously
Great as hen's teeth.
played a lot of competitive golf, been to a lot of golf tournaments. Only one that I've seen that I've not made, Manacero. And now he's back.
He is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's just so thoroughly boring that it's probably
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Just it seems to be everything just seems to be.
Not
Don't think it's that
something to lie
boring.
about. I've seen 3 holes in 1. But I haven't lie about that.
Or has
I
he
wouldn't tell anyone that, let alone lie.
Is this
about
going to be one of those crap ones where it's like, I've actually had 3 holes in 1?
Like
Watch
your-
Yeah, like
Manacero.
yours.
it. Like yours.
Yeah,
the other week
exactly.
about almost killing Paula Creamer. Whilst
No, he
didn't.
did have one where he'd said he'd only made 3 holes.
Yeah,
and
but
one
I'm
that was
talking
like
about
2
like,
or something.
You know, that
Yeah,
at least
yeah.
was kind of so random and out there that it's plausible. It could have been a lie. I was like, oh, cool. Basically, you're just telling us that you've seen some holes in 1, and I'm like, well,
Yeah.
probably.
Or not in this case, but they went in the hole.
I know that you've had 2 holes in 1.
Yeah, I know that.
Right.
I
Yeah,
do know
remember
that for
saying
a
that.
fact.
Okay.
It's the Manacero bit.
You're trying to think of other ones.
But
Yeah, is he going to turn around and say actually Manacero's was on the 11th at Castle
No.
Stewart?
No.
But it definitely wasn't, because I'm certain I'd remember that, because I've hit the pin on that hole. I've always had a bit of a morbid fascination.
Really?
Yeah.
Well done.
I've always had a bit of a morbid fascination with people playing that hole. 1 was brilliant looking, and 2, it's like, oh, who's going to get luckier than me? Yeah, I'm going to say that's true. Why would you lie about something like that?
Because it's Lewis.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
Strange Invernessian. That
That's
is.
not
Yeah.
very nice.
No.
Oh, what do you think?
Oh, don't be so sensitive.
Again, that's a Highland thing.
Yeah.
It's what they. Someone actually wrote a book about this. It's called the St. or a paper. It's about the St. Andrew's fault and that sort of chip in the shoulder that some Scots have. That's what makes us so patriotic and nationalistic and
Always looked down upon.
yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
The St. Andrew's fault. I think that's an
Uh-huh.
absolutely great expression.
Oh, yeah. Gonna use that.
I hate that. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say it's true.
Yeah, I think we're both saying
Both going
true.
true.
Yeah, I think there's too much detail, and you're able to kind of really just reel it off.
Account.
Unlike last time when you couldn't figure out like the weather and all this stuff.
Which was also true.
Yeah,
Well, that was,
yeah. But no, I would say I'm going to go true.
Yeah, it has to be.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
I just wanted to give Manacero a shout out, really.
Yeah,
He's
that's
delighted.
totally
he
fair.
was one of my favourites growing up. Absolutely thought he was amazing. Was
Oh,
following
he was,
him.
he was so much fun. Like, you know,
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
so boyish. And I think what he
Mm-hmm.
did was at 2009 Open at Turnberry.
Yeah.
I have a feeling he played this. I'm probably going to get this wrong, but did he not play alongside Tom Watson the first couple of days?
I think he did. Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
obviously won the silver medal. Unfortunately, Tom wasn't at that prize given.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, he just had so
Pretty
much
cool.
going for him. He was so exciting. Just, you know, classic boyish looks,
Yep.
great smile, amazing hair, or great clobber as well. Like
Yeah.
the Italian.
the
Classic
Ralph
Italian.
Lauren
Yeah,
stuff,
and
the
then
green
that, yeah.
trousers.
Do you remember he was sponsored at a hat sponsor? It was Kinder.
Yes.
as in Kinder
Ah,
Eggs and
brilliant.
Kinder Buenos.
Yeah.
Oh, what
That's
spots
amazing.
to have.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable.
I'd be feeling
I always
sick
wondered as a kid, was it actually Kinder, like as in Kinder Bueno, that was sponsoring him?
Oh, yeah, no, I
Yeah,
think
but
it
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well,
So
Kinder's
cool.
the German word for children, so
Right.
unless he's sponsored by German kids, then
Yeah.
they just had a whip round in Munich.
Yeah.
This guy looks good at golf.
Gather
Yeah,
all
let's
your
sponsor him.
euros together and give it to
when,
Matteo.
when GoFundMe wasn't a thing.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Just asking for handouts.
Mhm.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Inviting all the kids to Marienplatz in Munich. Right, give us your cash. We'll
Yeah.
hand it to Matteo.
Daylight
No,
robbery.
it was definitely the chocolate.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
Of
Good.
course, yeah.
Good to know. Yeah. No, awesome.
I used to love Kinder Eggs when I was little. Because that
Mm.
back then you had
Mm.
like things like the terrapins and the crocodiles.
Yeah.
In fact, I need to go and look that up.
I got banned from having them when I was younger because when I was I think I was maybe about 3 or 4
I know this is cool.
and I didn't realize they had like the little plastic thing at the time. I just put the whole thing in my mouth and I choked on it and my dad had to like pull it out of my throat to stop me from choking. That's why I'm not allowed. Anyway, I should be supervised at all times.
Oh my
But yeah.
God.
That was the Kinder story. That's probably going to be a good one. I could use that for Bare Lies.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
Bloody hell.
not now you can't.
No.
Oh well, that's like a cat out the bag.
Yeah. you live to tell the tale, thankfully.
I know, exactly. I'm still here hitting 462-yard drives. Bosh.
You had to get it in one more
I
time.
did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, before you try for a third, let's leave it there. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
No,
Enjoy the
thank
US
you.
Open this week. James,
You too.
congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant scenes. Producer Dex, thank you very much. Callaway, thank you for your continued support. But most of all, thank you to you for listening, watching, etc. Feel free to go and leave us a review. Please leave us only nice ones. See the mean ones. Like, why the fuck? Why would
Yeah,
you?
it's not-
Why would you waste your time being a dick?
Don't do that.
You know that's pointless.
Yeah,
So
I
5 stars only and say nice things.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the US Open, everybody. I'm sure it's going to be a great week. Fingers crossed that Rory McIlroy
Go on, Scotty.
helps me out, because God knows I
Go
need
on,
it.
Bryson.
Until next week when we'll debrief the whole thing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's bye-bye for now.